Last episode we met Condor Blue, joined by Death and Dole. He settled camp amongst the rocks here and started our one-man pacifist colony. I neglected our defenses and the colony was punished for it as we were raided, our farms were burned and our tent was stolen. Not a great start. Alright, as we wake up and come into the morning here, probably the first thing we want to do, knowing what happened last time, is we want to set up a proper kill box. I'm thinking we might try and turn this into the kill box up here, and we'll always keep this door closed when we're attacked. Purely because there's already some walls and it's got a bit of a funnel shape there, if you can see it. Maybe we'll close this door off. Anyway, first steps is going to be rebuild, replant. It was a bit of a shame we lost all of our hay grass, but in hindsight, we can probably also use the rice. Yeah, so we lost our tent last episode, which is a real shame. What we want now is to build a real bed. But to build a bed, we need cotton, and the cotton is slowly growing. I think I also made a mistake last episode with the research I chose. I ended up going with stone cutting for some reason, despite explaining how that was a silly idea. I think going for electricity, even though it's a long one, I think it has all the stuff we're going to need for long-term sustainability. Also, at some point, we should probably unlock complex furniture just for quality of life reasons, as well as it has a lot of storage options, which we might... Actually, we don't really need it now, do we? We've got nothing. We've been robbed. So I've set up a bit of a kill chamber that will happen here. In theory, any invaders would come down the channel, hit as many spike traps as possible, and then they would come around the corner. And if they've come around the corner, we might have to build another layer here. But hopefully 5 traps is going to be enough that we don't have to deal with anything too big at the moment. Hopefully we're dealing with single invaders or rabid animals. We're going to also have to forbid this area for our animals and our colonists so they don't accidentally go for a walk. And already Condor has trapped himself between 2 potential traps. That doesn't seem very smart. And if we just look at our stockpile, not only are we low on food, but we've actually run out of raw materials like wood. So the next day might be chopping wood, and then it will be research. Anyway, see you then. At the start of the new day here, it is still raining. We've just had breakfast. We are now down to 48 pemmican. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up some work orders to cut down some wood. And Condor should be getting onto this once he does a bit of research for the morning. Once we've cut all these down, we should be able to finish off our traps. One of the coolest things about having minor passions and everything is just seeing his experience go up so quickly. Our rice is now ready to harvest, so this will Okay, Condor, you can do better than this. This will hopefully save us for the next few days, and then we'll have to start replanting this rice. Moving this rice inside, what we're also going to do is we're going to start getting ready to build our first stove. To do this though, we're going to need steel, and rather than digging into the wall here, I think we're going to repurpose some of this over here. Uninstall some of these, and then these sarcophagi, I don't know the plural for sarcophagus, and we're going to move this into our home. Now that we have these sarcophagus in our storage, we can deconstruct them and magically we'll have steel available. With this steel, what we're going to do is we are going to build our stove, and from there we can start producing some meals. Then in the morning, we'll probably try and replant because we've got to keep food moving. Maybe we'll switch to some faster producing food, such that we don't have to store food for a long time. We can get away with just harvesting as we need to eat. We could use something like strawberry plants for that. But I'll have to have a look to see what is possible. For now though, it is a good night for our small colony. Still unnamed. What I've done is I've set up a build that we're always going to have 2 meals. This is not a whole lot, but I figure 1 in the storage room, 1 in his pocket, because we want lots of raw resources for things like taming. Hopefully this morning is Condor's last meal of pemmican, and then we can start having him on real food. There's lightning and thunder, so I think it's a change of plans today. We're just going to have Condor haul in all this rice, store it inside, and then he can hopefully start doing some cooking. Once we do some cooking, I think the rest of the day is going to be dedicated towards research. I hear fire. There's fire happening everywhere. If we can, we're going to start replanting and get things growing as much as we can, because we're going to have a constant turnover of food, particularly for Condor, but also for our animals, because we want to train them in hauling as soon as we can. And the quicker they are and the better they are at hauling, hopefully the more simultaneous work that we can have going on at once. Most of the day was spent doing chores. The remainder of the day will be some cooking, so Condor can actually have a nice meal for dinner, as our horse ate the final meal. He's still training Dole. Dole is now 2 out of 3 on guard. Then for Death, we can start working on Death's guard and Death's hauling. Guard is a prerequisite to haul, so it's going to take a lot. Oh my goodness, I've just realized the rain is finally cleared for this episode. I think it's been raining the entire time. That's quite impressive. It does benefit us though, because I do have a mod installed that says rain washes away filth. So any of these outside areas, if there was blood, if there was dirt, it is now being washed away. Condor is now just doing a few more chores and then it's off to bed. In the morning, we'll replant anything that is missing, and then I'm going to force him to do some research. And welcome back to a lovely new morning. Back to the cooking. We're almost always going to have to be cooking, but as I said, we're going to be cooking a little bit each day such that we don't have our meals spoil. As you can see, simple meals last 4 days, whereas rice is going to last 40 days. I forced him to do some cleaning up, but now it is time to research. To mix things up, Condor is going to spend some of the day tilling the soil around our base. What this will do is allow our plants to grow at an accelerated rate, as well as it just looks nicer, to be honest. We're going to be doing this in most of our planting area, in fact all of our planting area, because this is something that is very beneficial and something I should have done earlier. I'm just watching my animals go through the traps, and I think it's time that we actually forbid all of this for everyone. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off animal roam. We're going to clear that through there. I've also just noticed that this hare has died. If the cougar leaves it alone, we might actually go grab that. We'll have to see what the cougar does. And the cougar is going to eat it. I'm a bit worried about my own animals at the moment, so I've restricted them to the compound because this cougar is going to be a worry. I'm wondering whether we can go and duke the cougar to come through here. Then we can get some leather, we can get some meat, and we can maybe get some improved clothing, because this cotton is taking a long time. Condor has finished tilling the soil, which is fantastic. And I guess there was some more rice to be harvested, so we're making our next meals. With not much eventful happening, Condor's decided to take and lay down on a rock in front of the front door. So for the rest of the day, Condor is going to relax, and then we'll head to bed, and I'll see you in the morning. This is going to be a real setback. As we can see, Condor has just gotten food poisoning. That's disgusting. Right over that one particular plant. So what we're going to have to do is look after Condor, and we're going to have to re-enable him for cleaning, because we're going to end up with vomit everywhere. Probably would also help the cooking situation. So while the food poisoning isn't too bad, what we should probably do is try and stockpile food if we can, clean up the area, and then as the food poisoning gets worse, we'll have him rest and try and recover. Come on, man. You just finished cleaning up your own vomit and you decide to choose this plant. He really likes vomiting at the front door. I just got the warning that Condor is at a minor break risk, and I'm looking at his situation. Bad bedroom, slept on the ground, slept in the heat, unsightly environment, hungry, but I think the intense pain is probably the worst of it. There's not much we can do about this for the moment. Food poisoning is food poisoning. As we can see in the health tab, there's no way to handle it, but we are now at major. But I believe Condor will make it through. With Condor up and about, he has started finally recovering from his food poisoning. So today will be some minor tasks such as prettying up the place, moving some of these chunks out the way. I've also designated, now that he's got a good enough growing skill, to place down some bushes, some berry bushes. This will hopefully provide some easier to consume food as we go, because he can just pick it and eat it straight away. That's the theory. I don't know whether it would actually work like that. Working on some other tasks, Condor also needs to cut down wood so we can fuel our stove so we can make breakfast. Finally, his last chore of the day before he gets to some research will be some cleaning up. Condor is going to do a quick bit of research, so we keep chipping away at it, and then we'll head to bed. As we come into a new morning, Condor is going to continue his life of harvesting, and we're going to keep chipping away. But for now, I think that wraps up this episode. It's been thankfully a very uneventful episode compared to last one. And it feels very right that it finishes with some rain. Next episode, we'll probably consider adding a bit of a room here, and we'll need to fill it with some nice furniture, especially after Condor's little food poisoning incident. We might need to be setting up some proper places for him to rest and recover. To do that, we might have to change our research project again to complex furniture so we can build a bed and maybe some other more entertaining areas. We might also have to consider upgrading our storage room such that our animals will stop eating our prepared meals and they can pivot and start eating the prepared hay grass, which is almost ready. But the better control we have over what they eat will help us in the long term. Thank you for joining me on episode 2 here and joining Condor Death and Dole as we fight the rain and fight our own cooking abilities. If you enjoyed the episode and want to see what happens to Condor next, make sure to subscribe. Bye.